He goes, I just want to tell you that your visuals were the best visuals I've ever seen. And I looked at him and I said, I've been doing this now for 5 years and you're the first artist to actually give me credit for what I've done. Because I'm always sat next to the lighting guy, they always assume that I was doing the lighting. When you're watching the DJ up on stage and you see the big screen behind him, they say, that's what all the graphics that are going on behind him, I'm mixing all that live in real time. He goes, well, you know it was, didn't you? I said, no. He goes, it was Spielberg. You probably heard of the film called AI, Artificial Intelligence. And they were using visuals that we created, strobing ones, as the same way Nine Inch Nails used them on their world tour. I turned up at Glastonbury at 4 o'clock in the morning with 4 blank tapes, but I'd put stickers on them, one with Nine Inch Nails, one with Pet Shop Boys, one with Leftfield. I said, if you don't let me in, they're not going to have any content and someone's going to get in a lot of trouble. He let me in. And while I was standing there, I was so taken back by Glastonbury and the huge crowd and everything. I turned around to these kids, they're all, like late teens, early 20s. I said, look, the next time you see me, I'll be running that main stage. October that year, he offered me Glastonbury. So the following year, I'm there running the main stage.
Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me on this week's podcast. I'll be really quick. 70% of the people that watch this podcast aren't subscribers. Podcasts are the hardest channels to build. I'd really, really appreciate your help just by clicking that subscribe button. It takes a few seconds and it's free. Thanks so much, and let's continue. Habs Akram, you've been on my hit list for a long time. This podcast has never really been about just DJs and stuff like that. It's been about everyone in the industry, and you've been around for how many years now? 35?
About 35 years now, yeah.
And what would you call yourself? You are a VJ. Am I getting this right? VJ, am I getting the technology right?
A VJ, a video jockey or visual artist. Yeah. Whatever you want to call it.
And that's very much different from just your average lighting engineer.
I always get confused. People always get confused, think that I'm the lighting guy, and because video mixing is a new art, was a new art form, but because I'm always sat next to the lighting guy, and I always work with them on colors and stuff like that, they always assume that I was doing the lighting, and then I had to say, look, when you're watching the DJ up on stage and you see the big screen behind him, they say, that's what all the graphics that are going on behind him, I'm mixing all that live in real time.
Yeah, and people don't understand that. I think they do.
They don't get it. They think I'll just press a play button and that's it. But it's not that. I won't work like that. I refuse to work like that.
Yeah.
If they want someone that's just going to press a button and sit back and let the visuals play, they need to contact somebody else.
That's a lighting jock, isn't it? So where originally, where are you from, and where did you grow up?
I was born in Chiswick.
Chiswick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Queen Charlotte's Hospital in Chiswick in 1965.
Okay.
And so West London. And then I went to school in Hounslow, a school called Heathland School. And then my parents moved to Hampton. So, I sort of grew up around the Hampton area and used to go clubbing, when I got to the right age, because in those days you had to dress up to get into a club. Yes, you had to wear a shirt and tie and shoes. Yeah. You couldn't get in the way we dress now. There's no chance. Yeah. I remember the first club gig I did, which was Slinky at the Opera House. I went in a suit. And everyone thought I owned the club, and then I had DJs there like Tim Lyle and a few other DJs that worked there. Said, "Look, Habs, you've got to hold it down." I said, "What's on?" They said, "Look, we don't dress like this in the rave scene." So from that day, I had to change my whole look, because I came from a corporate background, you see. So,
funny enough, I spoke to the Slinky guys the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a small world, isn't it? It
is a small world.
Electronic industry.
That's why it's so important to be nice to everybody, because
you never know.
Word gets around. If you're nasty to someone, it'll get around very fast, and you just got to hold yourself and just get on with it.
I think it can break your career.
It can, and I've seen it so many times over the years. I'm quite fortunate because I'm on the I'm on the other side Whereas I watch what's going on because I'm on the production side. You know, a lot of the artists, well, most of the artists that I work with, they're all nice to me, you know, because I make them look good on stage.
Yeah.
You know, and to me that's a huge benefit actually. And you know, I'm nice to them, they're nice to me, and we just get on with it and do the job.
It's nice to be nice, mate.
It is. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost anything.
Does it really?
No.
Especially as I've always said, like, we work in the entertainment business. It's meant to be about being happy and fun,
Correct.
you know. And when I see all the skullduggery that goes on behind it, I'm like, fucking hell, stop
Yeah.
it. You know,
Yes.
I hate all that shit. And
I know.
how did you get into music?
Well, you know, since school, I used to, you know, back in the 80s, you know, I grew up as a lover of funk and soul music, and I used to DJ, you know, in the sixth form, you know, the school discos and all that. Then when I started working for companies, I used to do all the Christmas parties, and then I ended up doing all their weddings. So I grew up with everyone, and then on the music side of stuff, I was working for a company called Matrix Display Systems based in Chertsey, and I was headhunted at the time. I was with the guy with that company for 8 years, and I had a great relationship with the guy who owned the company, Darryl Clark, and we're still great friends now. And there was a gentleman by the name of Andreas Whittam Smith, who was the original people that created the independent newspaper, but he was also the British film censor at the time.
Okay.
So and he kept you know, calling me and trying and getting me to trying to get me to go and see him. And so eventually I gave in. I went to see him in Kensington, and I said, you know, how can I help you? I thought he was going to be a client of mine where I could sell him some AV kit, because that's what I was doing. I was a London regional manager for Matrix, selling AV into all the big blue chip
So
companies.
what's AV? AV is
audio visual,
just
you know,
audio visual.
projectors,
Yeah.
projectors.
Yeah.
LED screens weren't
Back
around
in
at
the
that time.
day, man.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
What were they looking like?
Yeah,
Just literal projection screens.
They started like that, barcode projectors, and they started getting smaller and smaller because the technology just you know, got better and better. Now they're DLP projectors, which is digital light projectors now. So they're really small. You can get, you know, you can buy little ones on Temu now, where you can you know watch a 100-inch screen from a projector that big.
Wow.
And you can just, you know, you can connect your phone or whatever, or Bluetooth, you know, to it. But yeah, but those were the days, you know, back in the late 80s and early 90s. And so I went to see Andreas Whittam, said, look, you know, how can I help? He said, look, we've got this software program called Dance DNA. And he goes, and we want to get it out to, you know, all the game shops, right? You know, because there were the game stores. You remember them back in the late 80s?
Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah.
I went to them.
So I looked at the program, great program, well ahead of itself. But the problem they had was people's computers weren't ready. And they're all everyone had PCs. Macs hadn't really taken off. The only people that were using Macs at the time were, you know, creators, people that
graphic designers and people like
and they
that.
were expensive.
Yeah. I remember that era. They were really, really expensive.
Yeah. So and the kids' PCs, because it was a bedroom product, they weren't ready. So, and I said, look, it's not going to work. I said, it's a great product, but it's not going to work. They said, well, what are we going to do? I said, well, look, you've got a great design team here. We've got a great product. Why don't we create content for music, you know, events and bands? And at that time, the only bands that were really doing visuals were U2, David Bowie, and Pet Shop Boys. You know, they were sort of a forward-thinking bands.
Yeah.
And you know, I was fortunate enough to go to London to meet some friends who worked in advertising, and they said, "Oh, we've got a friend of ours here. You might be interested for you to meet him." And his name was Mark Brickman. He was a lighting director for Pink Floyd. And I got talking to Mark, lovely guy, and he said, "What did you do?" I said, "Look, I'm working with this company," and the company was called Notting Hill. So I left Matrix and started working for Notting Hill. And we've got this product called Dance DNA, and we've got a design team to create all this content. Because let me come and see you. So he came down to Notting Hill, came to visit us, and he sat there, saw what we were doing, said, "I love it. I love all your stuff and the creativity." He goes, "I might have something for you." And I said, what's that? He goes, let me come back to you tomorrow. So he went off, and the next day he phoned us, and he said, look, I've got this band, and the content that you showed me would be perfect for them. Right? I said, who are they? What are they called? He goes, they're called Nine Inch Nails. Right. Right. So to cut a long story short, yeah, we ended up winning the contract, a world tour for Nine Inch Nails.
What year was that, if you don't mind me asking? I'm just
It was
trying to get a focus
97, 98.
Because you're a long way
I remember
they
played at Glastonbury in 98.
Right. Okay.
And
so late
I
90s.
had to deliver the VHS tapes to for them to use for their performance at Glasgow. And that's another story I'll tell you about, which is the amazing thing about this industry, Dexter. And you'll probably experience this yourself many times, where in our business you have to be in the right place at the right time to meet the right people.
Oh yes.
Right. And we'll come back to that. So I ended up doing this world tour with Nine Inch Nails, and Mark, lovely guy, and we're in New York. We just finished the show, and he goes, look, come up to me. He goes, Habs, there's a guy in the audience. He loved the visuals, and he wants to talk to you, right? And I'll see you later at the hotel. So I'm packing up. Everyone's knackered by the end of the night, and this guy, a short guy, comes up to about shoulder height. He goes, hi, my name's Stephen. Loved your visuals. They're great for a project of mine. My people will be in touch. Right. And that was it. And I went back to the hotel. Mark said, did you meet the guy? He goes, yeah, he just said his name was Stephen, and then he went. Yeah. He goes, well, you know who it was, didn't you? I said, no. He goes, it was Spielberg. Right. I said, okay.
No way.
Anyway, yes, it was him. Well, look, to cut a story short, right? Because I could talk to you forever about it. 2 weeks later, I was flown to LA, and they were talking to me about creating the same content. Because what Nine Inch Nails did, they used the strobing content that we created for them. They didn't use it as visuals looking at the crowd. Yeah, they used the LEDs pointing down onto the band. So they used it as lighting.
Yes.
Right, instead of video.
Yes.
Right. So there was a part of the movie, which is, you probably heard of the film, called AI, Artificial Intelligence.
Yes.
That was the most expensive movie he ever made. And it was a part where the young boy with the teddy bear meets Jude Law. And at that time, there's a band on the stage where they're firing these robots through these big industrial fans, right? But while they're doing that, they had this rock band called Ministry, the American band called Ministry, and they were playing on the stage, and they were using visuals that we created, strobing ones, as the same way Nine Inch Nails used them on their world tour as lighting on the band. And it looked great. If you watch the movie again, and
I've seen it, I have seen it, but I'm going to have to
watch
it
the
again
credits
now.
at the end. You'll see the credits saying visuals by Notting Hill Publishing. That was me working for the company.
May I ask, did you
Yes.
have a genuine interest in visuals, or did you just fall into a job then you enjoyed the visuals? Or
Exactly as you put it.
Which one?
I had an interest, but not a creative side.
Right.
Because I saw an opportunity. I'll tell you why I had an interest, because coming from audio-visual hardware,
yeah,
I always knew that one thing that was lacking with a lot of the people because I used to teach directors of companies how to use PowerPoint back in the day, right?
Right.
To do their presentations through the projectors, where they plugged in their laptops and they'd be taking them around the world just to do presentations.
Of course.
But the visuals or the content that they were using, it was just like text, just for presentations, to sell a product. But I knew there was more to it, that you could use this piece of hardware for more stuff, and then when I joined Notting Hill, I saw the product and I thought, this is fantastic. And I did use it at gigs. I used it at Creamfields. I used it at God's Kitchen, because I used to run the main stage for God's Kitchen, Global Gathering. I did it many times. And then I ended up working with Carl, and I did the main stage and Cox's Arena and stuff. Do you remember the time when Daft Punk played at Global Gathering?
Yes, I do. Of course.
Yeah, I was there.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, I've done it. Obviously, before we started working with the God's Kitchen coming back, I've been going through all the history of God's Kitchen.
Well, Neil Moffat, who owned it, is an old friend of mine from when I was in my 20s. We were we were involved in network marketing. We used to sell water and air filters. A company called NSA, and Neil was in my downline. He was in my network, and he used to earn me a lot of money every month because, being from his background, I'm not going to go into detail about his background because he's a good friend of mine, but he comes from Coventry, and nobody messed with Neil, right? He was one of those characters.
Yeah,
and I got into AV, and he got into clubbing and creating his own brand.
So all tied in nicely together.
Yeah, it was mad the way it all happened. Then I phoned him one day, and I said, "Neil, how you doing?" He goes, "Who is it?" I said, "It's Habs." And he goes, "You know what? You're the only Starney I'd take a call from." Right? That was his exact words. I said, "Thanks, mate." He goes, "When are you going to come and see me?" So I said, "Well, when?" And he goes, "Look, I'm doing Global Gathering and all that." I said, "I did come and see you," and he gave me the contract to do the main stage.
Wow.
And I remember one of my first Global Gatherings. He had an M3, a BMW M3, and Coxie turned up in his M3. And because that was a drag racing track where they did Global Gathering, they were having a race.
It was the airport, was it?
Yeah.
Of course, Carl loves his racing, doesn't he?
Yeah. He's a petrol head, isn't he?
Yeah. Of course, I follow it because he's got another other social media pages, hasn't he, for his motorsport?
Yeah, he's got about 60 odd muscle cars now on top of his racing bikes. I've got videos of all
motorcycles. Does he do motorcycles?
Yeah, he's got all his historical racing bikes. When I went to Melbourne, obviously I've been there a number of times, stayed at his place, and he bought a 52-acre farm where he's got this big warehouse there where he keeps his cars and his bikes.
The dream. Yeah. The dream. I'm a petrol head as well.
Fair play to him. Honestly, Dexter, look, Carl, a global legend in dance music.
Absolutely.
He used his money wisely. He didn't sniff it up his nose or whatever. Right?
He used it wisely. Geezer. It's just proper, He's properly. You never hear a bad thing about him. I've interviewed a lot of people on here who knew Carl from the Acid House days, and when he turned up to play, he was the nicest person in the world. Big smile.
Still is.
And when he played, I've had a couple of DJs say this. When he played, these other DJs looked at them and they said their music style, it influenced them so much that they changed their music. His influence on them was that much that they actually moved genres because of what he was playing. He was so far ahead of its time. I was in university, but in very early 90s, and I heard this Carl Cox tape, cassette tapes.
I've got one.
And it was he mixed everything together from garage, hip hop, all the way through to like techno, house, everything. And we just grilled this tape to death. And I never forget it because it was one of the only tapes I remember that had just everything in it, and it was just, obviously it was all on vinyl then. But yeah, he's been, I've followed him for many, many years. Now, you've worked with him for years.
Yes.
I was going to bring this up later, but as we're here, how did you meet Carl? And
well, if I go back to the Notting Hill days, what happens when I finished the world tour with 9 Inch Nails, I came back and I won the world tour for the Pet Shop Boys through Mark. He said, "Look, I've got another client for you." He goes, Pet Shop Boys. So we end up doing all their stuff. Remember when they had that number one with Dusty Springfield, and we had to project. It was a projected stage. We had to project on this big white piece of art that they built for the stage, and we had to basically time it right for when Dusty Springfield sang the chorus of that song. Wow. And we brought it in. Unfortunately, she had passed away, so we had to bring her back to life just for the tour.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And it was perfect. We timed it, and it looked amazing. And then from there, we went on to Left Field, and I won their tour, and that was amazing. Another great band. And then from there, I was doing a gig in Brighton at Stanmere Park for a guy called Ish. And the headliner was James Brown.
Wow.
And I was running the main stage there, and with VHS tapes, right? So I used to drive around with 600 of them in the boot of my car. So, 4 VHS players, an MX50 video mixer, and VHS tapes.
Oh my
And
God.
and this guy comes up to me and goes to me, who's in charge of all these wacky graphics? I said, me. He goes, have you got a card? I said, no, I've never had a business card. All my work has always come through word of mouth. Because with what I do, people buy what they see.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how it's always been for me. You know, I've never had to advertise or, just go and, try and pitch people to, come and work with me. But, it's all come through word of mouth. And then this guy is called Mike Walker. He was a director of a company called CT, Creative Technologies, based in Crawley. He goes, can I come and see you? I said, yeah. So he came down to Notting Hill, came to see me. He goes, I think I've got a job for you. I said, what's that? He goes, there's a friend of mine called Dick T. I said, okay, have you heard of him? I said, no. He goes, well, he runs the main stage, the pyramid stage at Glastonbury. And he goes, and what you do will be perfect for Glasgow. So basically I end up running the main stage at Glasgow. Right. But this is the strangest thing, Dexter, right? When Nine Inch Nails and the Pet Shop Boys, they were billed at the same 1998. They were billed to play at Glastonbury and Left Field, 3 bands that we've done visuals for, right? But none of their management offered me any tickets to go to see them at Glasgow, right? Even though we produced all their content to use for their performances. So, and I had to go because I needed to see this, So I turned up at Glasgow at 4:00 in the morning with 4 blank tapes, but I'd put stickers on them with one with Nine Inch Nails, one with Pet Shop Boys, one with Left Field. So, and there's a guy, goes, yeah, what can I do for you? I said, I need to come in. He goes, why? I said, because I've got the visuals for 3 of the band that are playing on the main stage this weekend. I said, if you don't let me in, they're not going to have any content and someone's going to get in a lot of trouble, right? So he let me in, right?
What a blag.
What proper blag, right? This is a true story. And at the time, I had some close friends that lived in Shepton Mallet, and they were camping up on the hill, looking down at the main stage. And they said, "Oh, Cabs, come and stay with us. We've got spare place in our tent and all that. Come stay with us." So I went up there, and obviously they said, "What are you here?" I said, "Oh, I've got 4 blank VHS tapes." They said, "What are you going to do with them?" I said, "Oh, well, I'm going to take them home with me." Right, but that's it. And I told them my story about getting in. They said, "Wow!" They all started laughing. So anyway, we sat there and I watched the show, watched the performances, and while I was standing there, I was so taken back by Glastonbury and the huge crowd and everything. I turned around to these kids. They're all, like in their late teens, early 20s. I said, "Look, the next time you see me, I'll be running that main stage, right?" And they just looked at me and they sort of smiled and laughed, thought, "Oh, whatever." Right? Anyway, the following year was the year, later that summer is when I met Mike Walker, right? At Essential Festival in Brighton. And then October that year, he offered me Glastonbury. So the following year, I'm there running the main stage, right? So these kids phoned me and said, "Habs, are you coming this year?" I said, "I am." I said, "Come and walk down to the pyramid stage and I'll be there. Come and meet you there." So anyway, they walked down and, you've got the barrier there and there's one little door that opens. I had the actual, what's it? The caravan next to the main stage. The porter cabin, shall I say.
Yeah.
And they looked at me and said, "What are you doing there?" I said, "Do you remember last time I saw you last year?" And I said to you, "Next time you see me, I'll be running this main stage." I said, "Well, that's exactly what I'm doing here." And they just looked shocked. And that was it. That's when it all began.
Right? What a story. I never knew you run. I know I think I've seen stuff. I always follow you on Facebook, but I get lost with the amount of gigs that you do. This is the problem, because we've known each other online and through the industry for many years, and you've just done so much. I mean, I obviously know you more predominantly from my space days. Is when I was going to Carl Cox every week.
Yeah, that's another story.
Yeah, but I never knew you did Glastonbury. That's the new one on me.
I did Glastonbury, but after doing the main stage, they were so impressed with what I did at the main stage. They said, "Have you got any more equipment?" I said, "Yeah." What for? He goes, "Can you do the dance tent as well?" And I said, "Yeah, I can do the dance tent." So I did the dance tent, and I remember that year quite clearly because that was a year when Fatboy Slim was playing in the dance tent, and some guy chucked his towel over the decks and ruined his set while he was in the middle of his set. Right, and I watched it all, and I thought, wow, this is the sort of characters you get at Glastonbury. And anyway, I did that. And they were happy with that, and then they offered me the other stage. So I was doing 3 stages at Glastonbury: the main stage, the other stage, and the dance tent. And but it all came to an end, but not in a bad way, because that's when Carl Cox came to me and said, "Can you come? Can you come and see me?" I said, "Who are you?" He said, "I'm Carl Cox." And then I remembered who he was, because I did a gig at the West Point Arena with Carl for Slinky. Well, he did one of his famous 6-hour sets.
Yeah.
Right. And Richard Carr, who owned Slinky at the time, he booked him to do that. And I did 6 hours with my VHS tapes. I was knackered by the end of it. And at the end of his set, his driver came up to me and he said, "Oh, Carl wants to speak to you." I said, "What about?" He goes, "Oh, you have to come to his dressing room." So I walked in. I goes, "Hi, nice to meet you, mate. How can I help?" He goes, "I just want to tell you that your visuals were the best visuals I've ever seen." And I looked at him and I said, "I've been doing this now for 5 years, and you're the first artist to actually give me credit for what I've done."
Fair play.
And I worked with Judge Jules. I worked with all of them. Yeah, prior to that, I started with garage music with Scott Garcia and all those guys. It's a London thing in West London, right? But all those years, I did my job. I just quietly did it, and I went home.
I
But
suppose
Coxie
they
was
just
the
thought
first one.
I suppose they just thought it happened. You know,
Yeah,
magic. Yeah,
yeah,
it was kind of all. It was new. It was new. The
yeah,
visuals.
yeah.
I remember
I
going.
pioneered it. I
I
pioneered it
remember
with the
World
help
Dance,
of the company.
going to World Dance, and you'll laugh at this. I've been dying to tell you this. The
Go
only
on, then.
visual I ever remember from World Dance was a projector on the screen at Wembley Arena. I think it was one of the places we were. I don't think it was Lid, and they were playing Pingu. Remember
Right.
Pingu?
Yeah. Do you remember the dancing baby?
Yeah, and all that stuff. But it was so basic then.
Yeah.
And even if I look back at now old images of like, some of the old clubs, the old brands in Ibiza, they still just got a flappy, dodgy old banner behind the
It's
DJ.
depressing
You know?
with the amount of money they spent on those venues,
Yeah.
and the amount of money they spend on the artists just to try and get people through the door. It's just shameful that they don't have the budget to have decent, people to video mix live content, mixing it live. And I do that every year for Slip Back in Time. I'm at Eden. You've
Yes.
probably
Yes.
seen some of the stuff,
I've
and
seen you.
I love.
Yeah.
And I go there, and even the guys that work there, the lighting guy, and they turn around to me every year, and I kid you not, they always turn to me and say they're the best visuals that we've seen, because you don't leave the same stuff on. You're constantly changing it,
Yeah.
constantly keeping the show going, and the way you map the screen and the way you drop the content on the drops, and then black out the screen, when the drops come in, and then bring it back, and when the track takes off, he goes, nobody does that. He goes,
I'll
just
be
leave
the
it
first
on.
to admit. I'll be the first to admit. We do a lot of events, and
Yeah, I know you do.
and we don't use VJs. And sometimes when we go to the clubs, they don't have the staff, or they're not really used. They're just using this automated stuff that they've already
Yes,
got.
correct.
And
Yeah.
it's just what you do is completely and utterly different. I mean,
Yeah,
it is
totally.
literally mixing.
Mm.
But with the advent of the things that I'm seeing at Anima and Universe, and some of these really big shows. Now, are these people doing what you're doing? Have followed in your footsteps?
No, they're creating content, but this is my slight bugbear here, right? Because people send me links with that anima stuff and all that.
Yeah.
But the issue I have is you can't use that throughout the whole 6-7 hour event, right? It's too much of a circus display, right? Because it's up there. It looks fantastic. Don't get me wrong, it's amazing. And the production budgets are massive, just like Eric Prydz's, right? Production budgets are huge, right? But they can only use it maybe once or twice before people will switch off. So I've already seen that. Show me something I haven't seen, Whereas what I'm doing, because I'm always creating new content, I'm mixing it live to the music.
Yeah.
That's why I love, I love working with DJs like Carl and other DJs that I've worked with over the years, where they're constantly, you listen to the music and you can see, their art and their skills when they're mixing. And that's what I'm trying to bring in with the visuals as well.
And you learn the music as well, don't you?
Yeah.
So you know when it's going to drop. You know
No,
when it.
but
Know
I know it's dropping. But this
yeah.
is the funny thing. You'll laugh at this because Coxie never plays the same set, right? And I never knew any of the tracks he played. I just love the music,
Yeah.
right? And our thing. I used to say to Carl, how do you want me to work today? What do you want me to? He goes, Habs, I'll do what I do, and you just do what you do. He goes, that works.
Just let it
So
flow.
we never had a discussion for him saying, look, I want it like this or I want it like that. He just said, you do what you do, and I'll do what I do.
But I think music's a shape. It's a shape, isn't it? And you kind of get to understand that shape.
Yeah.
And obviously that's what you do with your music. You're understanding the
Yeah.
frequencies and the shapes,
Yeah.
and you know how it's going to happen. And
Yeah, I'm changing it constantly. I mean, I'll give you an
yeah,
example. I did Coco a couple of years ago for Graham Gold's gig, Peach, and the girls, they came on with these big, huge wings. I didn't know they were coming in with their fancy dress wings on.
other
Right?
dancers.
And yeah, the dancers, right? And something just clicked in my head at that point, and I thought, I've got some really cool eagle wings as visuals that flap about, and I put these massive eagle wings on the screen, and everyone went, "Wow!" But it just came to me at that point because I'm watching what's going on as well on stage, right? And not with only the colours that the lighting guy's bringing. If he's gone red, I'll go red with the visuals, but we can turn the whole room red, or green or blue. But also other stuff when the dancers come in with certain outfits on, I'll try and put on content that will merge with that as well and that theme that they're trying to create. But I do it live when people don't
How
expect
do
it.
do you use? I haven't got a clue what equipment you use. We're going to get onto your app in a minute.
That's okay.
How do you do it? Do you bring? Is it on Macs? Is it on hard drives? Is it special equipment?
No, I always have 3 MacBook Pros. I've got
3.
I have 3 of them
Always.
with me. Yeah, always have 3. I use 2, but I have a third as a backup. Right now, my app is a backup now, so I can use that.
Yeah.
Right, or my phone. My phone's a backup because it's got the app on there
Because
if I need to use it. Right, but so and I've got over 6,000 video loops to use during an event.
Instead
And
of
I
the
can chop and
VHS
change.
tapes.
So depending on the style of music, if I'm working with drum and bass, because I used to do all the slamming vinyl parties back in the day.
Wow.
So and it was at New Year's Eve every year at the NEC. I used to do all those One Nation slamming vinyl for those boys, and then then it went on to all the trance gigs, and then it went on to techno with Carl. But at the same time, I was also doing Glastonbury with bands. So I had to have a diverse library of content to go with different styles and different genres of music for it to
all
work.
Your music was on the MacBook. They're obviously big hard drives. Memory.
They're like 2 terabyte drives, but
2 terabyte drive. Okay.
Yeah, but even during lockdown, Dexter, I digitized all my VHS tapes, right? Because I couldn't go to any gigs, I couldn't do anything because I'm also a type 2 diabetic, so I was told to stay away from big events during lockdown. So I thought, well, what am I going to do with myself? So I digitized all my VHS tapes from all the raves that I was doing back then, all the trance gigs, all the drum and bass gigs, all that. And now, on top of the library that I was creating, I've got a library from the old school days that the ravers of today have never seen, right? And they are wicked. They're just full of energy. It's energy music, colourful energy music.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's in real time because
proper nostalgic.
But when I created the content, I created it at a certain frame rate. So when you played it to any kind of dance music, it looked like it was going in real time.
Gotcha. You're always playing at something, aren't you? Technical. I always see you.
I am, but you either in it or you got to use it or you lose it. You got to stay up with the technology.
Absolutely, and so you obviously, I know I've had this discussion with you before.
Sure.
VJs definitely are misunderstood and undervalued. In my opinion, 100%, they should 100%. Be. I think they should be personally. I think they should be bog standard for any major club because if the technology's there, they're spending 10, 15 grand an hour on bloody DJs or whatever. They should at least have trained VJs. Now, are you alone in the world of this? Is there many of you who have these?
You get VJs all over the world, but they're all not all the same. They don't work the same.
Everyone's got their own little thing.
I mean, if I turn up to a gig, I will do if it's like, let's say if it's like there's a lot of day parties now that start at 2 o'clock and finish at 12.
Yeah.
Right? I'll do the straight 12 hours because I don't want to miss a beat. I'll be there throughout that 12 hours mixing content. Totally. And at the end of the gigs, it's always extremely heartwarming to get feedback from the audience and the crowd when I look at the socials and they all rave about what I did, about the music, about the visuals. And, and I love that because it just makes me feel good about what I'm doing on a daily basis when I'm creating new content, because I'm always thinking ahead and thinking, what's going to go with this? Because house music is a big thing right now, and it's vocal and it's colourful. So I create a lot of colourful content to go with that and with energy. Back in the day with Coxie, it was more, more black and white. It was colour, but it was more, like dark, because deep techno is dark.
It was quite industrial, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Space, we used to keep it really dark in it. You walk into the main room of Space, and it was dark, and that's how we loved it.
Yeah. I was
because we went there for the bass line. When Tony Andrews would go in there and sort out that Function One system they had in Space. He'd spend a week tweaking it just to get the sound right, and then I'd come in, 3 or 4 days before the opening, and I'll map the screen and test the content I'd be making for a build up to the 16 weeks in the summer at Space.
They were great. I actually remember when Carl Cox first arrived, and it wasn't on a Tuesday; it was a Thursday. Do you remember?
Yeah.
The first ever week was a Thursday. Not many people know this. And then the Carl Cox, the face on the t-shirts. And I lost mine somewhere. And we were regulars every single year.
Well, if you need a Carl Cox t-shirt, I think I've got a couple of my. I've got one from the old Space days. I'll give you one.
No that'd be brilliant. I love anything like that.
Yeah, I've still got this from back in the day. The closing party.
Oh, no way.
Nick Van Cheerlier.
Fantastic. Are you a bit of a collector of stuff like that?
Yeah, I've collected a few things. I've got one from. I was sent one from Norman J as well, from back up when we did a party in Wandsworth for the Queen's Jubilee, and he signed. I've got it over there. I'll bring it out in a bit. And he had it in his office at home. He's had it there for about 4 years, and then he found it, and he phoned me up and said, "What's your address?" I said, "Are you coming around to see me, Norman?" He goes, "No, I've got to send you something." And I'll go and get it and I'll show you. Yeah, it was called the Right Royal Carry On. And
my Lord, yeah, look at that.
Right, so signed it up here. MBE, Norman J.
Yeah, he's got an MBE.
To Habs.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I've got all these little bits of. It's just, what, one of the things I am blessed with is that I've worked with some amazing people over the years.
Yeah, just that. We're just touching the top of the iceberg here, I know, because
without a doubt.
I've seen I'm sure it was you who put like just a picture of a collection of lanyards that you have. You have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of festival lanyards. You don't have to go and get them now. I'll dig the photo out on Facebook.
Oh, I'll go and get them now. It'll take me forever to find them now.
And what I'm going to do with this podcast, I'm going to be layering over all like the visuals from the beginning, whatever I can find from the beginning and whatever you can give me, so people can get a real good understanding of what you do. Because it does surprise me sometimes when I walk into venues and the lighting. We've got to pay additional extras for lighting when it's like there's no one there to work. You're like, what? But that's half the experience, you know? It's like, what's going on here, And they kind of cut back on that and then spend money on other things. But I guess that's just how it is.
Mate, it's just so annoying because, there's so much you could do, and it's such a shame. When you've got, I mean, for example, the way they've done the columns at Eden, for example, the columns look amazing, but if you've got the right content, you could make it look so amazing.
They're split, aren't they? They're a split.
And so when I do the slip back in time, I actually map the columns,
all of them.
I have stuff going across and back, up and down, but when symmetry is so important to me. Everything needs to look symmetrical. On a visual element, because when you're at a venue and you're drinking and you're loving the music, you can look at the screens and you just want to look at something that's it's just got to look right.
The thing is, with partying, it's lights, sound,
Mm,
and it's all sensory. So that should be right, because
absolutely.
I know what you're on about with the screen at Eden, because we struggle with it a little bit, because it's in 12 strips. Is it 12
Yeah,
or
yeah.
8 strips or something like that?
No, it's 10.
10 strips. There we go.
Yeah,
But it's in rectangle, and I'm just
10,
like,
10 columns.
I was like, oh, so you have to individually map each one of them out. And if you haven't got someone with
We
the
don't
right
have
skill
to, but
set, yeah,
if you love what you do, you want it to look, look, Dexter, in our business, whether you're playing music or you're performing in any way or form, you're only as good as your last gig. That's how people judge you in our
yeah,
industry, right?
yeah.
And whenever I turn up to an event, I want to walk away knowing that people loved what I did. Right?
Yeah.
That is my goal. I always feel anxious before an event, and I always said the day
Good.
I stop feeling anxious before an event, I'll walk away. I've had it. I'm done, because it's not. I don't have feelings for it anymore.
I think the anxiety is excitement as well.
Yeah.
Because before any event, especially like in an Amnesia event or something like that, I got this big knot of anxiety in my stomach, because it's just scary, because it's the scale of some of these things, and also people's expectations. You
Hmm.
don't want to let people down.
Well,
And
that's because people are coming in from all over the world, and they've been told so many stories about Ibiza. It's this, and this, and
you
and
can't
then
let them down. So we're
okay.
now seeing huge amounts of DJs using these visuals. When did you think the visual side of things really started becoming big in electronic music? Because obviously you've always done it, but
Hmm.
it seems to have like been
When it
more.
changed,
Yeah.
when it changed from projectors to LED. Right?
Right.
Because
Okay.
projectors you could only use when it got dark at an event, right? Especially at festivals, right? But when the LEDs kicked in, it took it to another level, because they were on you could use them during the day,
Right.
but it obviously made your job harder because you were there working longer hours. But when it was projectors, you had to wait till the 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening before it got dark, so you could, because otherwise you were just fighting with the lighting guy
And
as
what year
well.
was that? What year would that have been?
You're talking about mid-90s.
Mid
94,
90s, yeah.
95, and up to 2000. But also LED, a large chunk of a promoter's budget in those days as well, because it wasn't cheap, and they were big modules and
Heavy,
heavy.
these
Yeah,
I remember we used to fit some lighting in Ibiza, this
yeah.
big board, huge thing it must have been about 12 foot tall, and it was in squares, and we had to click them all together. And it was
Mm.
Simon from Aladdin Lighting over in Ibiza. You might know him. I used to help him build this bloody thing, and we did it down at Amnesia, we did it Blue Marlin, we did it at private gigs. But these LED panels, they weren't light. They
No,
were really heavy
they're worried
fucking
about
thing.
40 kilos.
And we had to plug them together and put
Yeah.
them in, screw them together. And we had this massive, like, square or rectangular wall. And it could be different shapes, but we generally had it rectangular.
Mm.
And honestly, it took us a day. And this was in serious heat in
You needed
August.
two people to lift one panel.
Absolutely, we always needed two people.
Yeah.
Always needed two
Now,
people. Yeah,
no, you don't.
that was state of the art in 2010. So the last 10 to 15 years,
Oh, it's come a long way.
technology has jumped 50
Yeah.
years, in my opinion. It's just
I mean,
gone.
the pixels have got smaller because they were like 30 mil pixels, right? And they went down to 20 mil, 15 mil, 6 mil. Now they're like 1.9 mil, almost TV quality, panels,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they look amazing. But obviously, the smaller the pixel, the more expensive they are, and they cost more,
yeah,
but but there's loads of secondhand LED screens or panels about that you can get. But like I say, it was a massive game changer for the industry when LEDs came into dance music, when promoters started spending money. And the ones that spent money that I recognized first were the Dutch. When you went to like Tomorrowland
yeah,
or one of them, they really invested in that technology because they wanted to stand out, with their events, with their production. And then the other people were the Americans. You know, when I was doing Ultra Music Festival in Miami,
Yeah.
they went to Hollywood with their production and LED.
Yeah.
You know, like 300 square meters in the Carl Cox mega structure. Yeah, 300 square meters of LED. That's like
It's
you know,
insane,
on the
isn't it?
ceilings as well as on the stage. You know,
Oh, yeah,
coming
yeah.
down. You know, you've
Some
seen it.
Yeah, some of the stuff I see now, I'm just like gobsmacked. I mean,
And I've been privileged to be there when they first did it, and to be the first one to actually use that hardware.
and
you know?
you were programming that stuff as well.
Yeah,
So basically,
yeah.
if new equipment comes out, would they come to you to
No,
test it
they
out?
wouldn't, because there's plenty of guys out there that can, you know,
Can
or
figure it
they'll do
out.
it in house. They'll test it in house. I
Uh-huh.
only get to use it when I'm at an event. And then they
Right.
go, wow, you just done. I mean, I was at a gig the other week, and the guy who supplied the LED he goes, can you come and do some demos for us when we've got clients in? Because, you know, like I said earlier on, people buy what they see. Right? And
Yeah.
you know, if you've got a screen and the content looks amazing on there, people will go, wow, I want that. I want that for my next event. But they don't realize they're going to have to, if they really want it to look that good, they're going to have to book me as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It comes with it. Now,
Yeah.
am I right in saying that I saw not a couple of years ago a DJ VJ mixer where the DJ was mixing as well, the music and lights? I'm
It
sure it was
depends
some.
what because there's a DJ called Sander Kleinenberg back in the day. He used to
Yes.
mix CDs,
Okay.
DVDs with his music, right? But that didn't last very long.
No. Because I remember seeing something that a DJ
Yeah.
was mixing his own visuals at the same time. Now,
You can do it with some DJ software as well. You know,
Yeah.
it's synced up to the track.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I'm seeing.
But that's not my bag. You know, I'm at the other end. You know, and I'm just like you say, I'm listening to the sound and I'm mixing it live. You know, because all that is already synced up to the track. It's all redone. I mean,
Okay.
it's similar to. It reminds me of you know, when I first started working when I went on a world tour with Ferry Corsten back in the day.
Yeah.
And we went to South America. And I was mixing visuals with Ferry because Ferry, you know, he wanted something new and fresh. He goes, I love what you do. He goes, I want you to come to South America with me and mix, you know, your visuals live. And that at that time, still, I was doing it on VHS tapes. Yeah,
That's
and I meet
crazy.
Ferry nowadays, and
Have you still got them?
Reminds me. Huh?
Have you still got the tapes?
I've got a few, but I digitized them all.
Yeah, I'm about to say, even though it was like, I can't actually let them go.
You can't find a decent VHS player now to play them on.
Not even cash converters back in the day. You know, there's hundreds of them. Okay, so the reason why I'm talking about the DJ and the DJ VJ is let's talk about your app, V4M.
Yeah.
Can you just tell me in layman's terms what it is and what problem you're trying to solve?
Can I tell you the history behind it?
Yeah, because I know there's a bit of history behind it.
Yeah, the history behind it is, in 2011, Japan was unfortunate to be hit by a tsunami, and a lot of people passed away. But those people the Japanese are very resilient people, and I have massive respect for them. So, 3 weeks after the tsunami, they invited us there because there's a promoter we knew, and he was putting on a charity event to raise money for the survivors of the tsunami. So myself went. Fatboy Slim was there. Cuban Brothers, they were there. Carl, all that, and so we turned up, and they were, you know, the people from the government were there, and they were thanking us and everything. And because we were there for 4 days, on the first day, that was a day off. I thought I'd go into Tokyo City Centre and check out their technology shops. You know, it's phone shops. So I went in. I was totally blown away. They had like a 4-story phone shop, but in those days it was just Motorola phones, Nokia, you know, all that kind of stuff. Right? There wasn't even, you know, cameras or video at that time running on phones. But I was just so taken back by the technology. And those days, the Japs and the Koreans all used to have 3 or 4 phones each. You know, that's how they rolled over there.
Yeah,
they probably still do. But I had that light bulb moment because apps were just coming in. There was a good friend of mine in the industry who you probably know well, Richard Skaith. Do you remember him?
It rings a bell. Yeah.
He used to do stuff for Tidy Tracks back in the day. Richard Scape.
Okay.
He used to be a DJ up in the Midlands as well, but he now lives in Malta. Doing some other stuff with mushrooms and stuff. Yeah,
I used to live in Malta.
Did you?
Yeah,
I love Malta.
yeah, for about a year.
Malta.
For about a year, me and my mum lived there.
It's a beautiful place.
Beautiful place.
Oh, amazing.
Anyway,
I
we digress.
I love going there. That's okay. So I saw that, and then I had that light bulb moment, and apps were just coming in. So the next day, I've gone down to the actual venue, and the venue was on the beach. They were doing a beach party. This is madness. They were still having aftershocks of the tsunami, of tremors from the from the earthquake that caused the tsunami. But you had 8,000 people on the beach, partying. Right. So while I was there setting up all my equipment on 2 6-foot tables, because it was a lot of big kit in those days, because the computers aren't as great as they are now back in the day. So I was setting it all up, and Carl's going, "All right, you're right, Habs, it's all going all right." I said, "Yes, Carl, but one day I'm not going to need all this equipment." And he goes, "Well, what are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to do it with my phone." Right. And he looked at me and laughed, and he goes, "Make it happen." It's taken me since 2011 up to 3 months ago to make it happen, because the technology wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Right. And I made it happen.
But you knew
it's just like anything in life. You got to be patient.
Yeah.
But I met the right developers. Here's the app here. I'm running it on an iPad at the moment.
Okay.
Just to show you. So you have a drop down menu. By the way, all this content you'll see, you get free with the app. I'm very generous like that. I just want everyone to download it and you see.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. Right, the actual microphone on your mobile device.
Yeah.
Picks up the audio.
Yeah.
And it syncs the sound. Right, so boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
So it'll go to the baseline, and then you can choose another video. So, for example, that one there. Now, this one you see now, Dexter, I made 25 years ago, and I digitized it from a VHS tape.
So this
but
is
if you play that now to any dance track, it'll look like it's going in real time. But it'll work with garage, trance, techno, any kind of sound. And then there's a white button there. See this white button here?
Yep.
Go from left to right, and you can mix live. Yeah. Now, you also can import your own content, which enables you can import your own logos. So if you've got a DJ,
of course,
and once you've imported your logo, it will come up on the screen, and you can make it bigger or smaller, and it will also bounce to the beat. Or you can stop it. You can turn the sensor off. There's a sensor thing here. You turn the sensor off, and it stops it from bouncing. So you've got it on all the animations. So now you can see it's not bouncing. It's just running as an animation, right? And they're all high res, all 1920 by 1080 resolution. You can import your own visuals, your own videos, and your own logos. And then you have another box here where you can type in your name. So if I type in Dexter, and you can also use the emojis in Apple, Apple emojis. So I'll put in a heart. So I've got Dexter there. There you go, Dexter. If I go down, turn the sensor up, look, Dexter. And you can also change the color of the text as well. So it's got a color chart. So there you go, you've got a color chart. So you can change the colors. You can have red, green, whatever color you want your text to be. There you go, Dexter.
Oh my God,
Dexter. It's a game changer. All right, just want to show you that I'm here at Love Life Radio Studios, and I'm video mixing on their green screen, as you can see. That's going out, and I'm using my phone to video mix live on green screen. And if I go from there to there, you'll see on that screen there that I'm mixing live. This is where technology is going. Straight from your phone, live video mixing. I love it. And if you download this app when it's ready on iOS, you're going to love it too. Oh yes.
I am blown away by technology nowadays.
Yeah,
but this has taken over a decade.
Wow. I had to wait for the hardware.
Yes, of course. So
because my idea was way ahead of it's like it's a bit like when I worked for Notting Hill. The Dance DNA program was way ahead of itself. People's PCs weren't ready.
Yeah. I'm seeing this already with video stuff. People are giving me 6K files.
Yep.
And I'm like, what are you going to run it on? You ain't got a 6K TV.
I'm going to send you a video that you can add to this podcast where
I'm going to put loads of videos on this, I think.
Yeah. Where I was at an event last week and I had my iPad. I was video mixing with this from the middle of the dance floor.
Is it with Lizzie Curious?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I saw it. You
saw that, yeah? So I'm in the middle
of
the dance floor and I'm mixing visuals live with no cables.
I think that's what's triggered me to get in touch with you. I think because I think it was because I've got a whole list of people, Habs, but and it just going through them slowly. But and then suddenly I'll see something on their socials that go, it's time to reach out to them, and you gladly said yes. But yeah, that was Lizzie Curious, and you were standing there, and someone was filming you, and I will include it in this.
That's right.
But that's so that's 10, 15 years worth of work, because this software can generally be far more advanced than hardware, can't it?
Yeah, it can be, but it had its bugs. You know? It had, and you just had to get it right, and then it had to be recoded by the developers, and because Apple brought out a new thing where all the new apps had to be on a certain run on a certain code, right? And so they had to rewrite the whole code, and now this is indestructible. It won't crash. It's just like, it's brilliant.
And you were telling me
it takes up less less space on your mobile device as well.
You were telling me on the phone that it got accepted by the Apple Store and the Google Store
24 hours.
24 hours, which is unheard of.
Yeah. Normally they take 6 to 8 weeks to sign off an app. Yeah, because they want to check it. It's got to pass certain regulations, this, that, and the other.
Of course.
And but I was just amazed when they just signed it off in 24 hours. I thought, wow, this is great. They obviously liked it. And it's the only product of its kind. I have no competition right now.
So who is your ideal customer for this product?
Anyone can use it at home. Like I say, you can use it. I'm going to be loading some Christmas content on there for Thursday. So, when I come down, I'll have it on my TV. And I have Merry Christmas or whatever. But the beautiful thing about this app, it's not just visuals. If you're a DJ and you've got a mix, you can actually upload your mixes into the app, so you can run audio and visuals at the same time at home on your telly. So if you've got surround sound at your telly at home, you can run the audio through the app and the visuals at the same time and have it all going in real time.
Do you know what I'm going to see? I can predict now. YouTube. Obviously, when people are uploading stuff on YouTube and it's just a picture, and it's or a slow video or something.
Yeah,
this could be perfect for like a mix on YouTube where it's creating something as it's going. Yeah. Like there's some very beautiful meditation videos.
Yes,
which have got
I've seen them.
Amazing visuals over the top of it, because you're looking at it. You
can import those into this app.
Yeah, and so I could see DJs using this as like an add-on over their mixes or over their new tracks, or because a lot of our friends work for people like Hot Creations and people like that. So when they're going to be releasing new tracks,
I'll tell you who this product will be perfect for: Spotify.
Yeah.
Because they have a video element to their audio.
They have.
So we could incorporate. My developers could actually build Spotify into the app.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm currently about to upload all my video content to Spotify, so they have that video power already, haven't they? That element is already there. You need to get on the phone, man.
But the other thing I'm going to do, Dexter, which is the way the actual app developers, and I've discussed it with the guys. They want to push the app is through affiliates, doing affiliation with people, where if you, for example, influencers. So if I get involved with an influencer who's got a few 100,000 followers, what we'll do is sit down with them and we'll do a deal where we give them a code, and that code, that code basically they send to all their followers, and it's basically got their name on it, right? So everyone who subscribes with that code to the app, they will get a percentage of the subscription on the downloads.
Yeah. No, I used to run a DJ tech
You know how
website.
it works.
We are affiliates for Amazon and for. Oh God, you're taking me back now, Abs. And we used to own a cat website as well. So we used to be affiliates for Amazon and what's that? Chewy. And so basically what happens is you get a commission for every sale that you get.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
Amazon destroyed the commissions in lockdown and cut everything in half, the bastards.
yeah. But with this, yeah, but they are.
Yeah.
But with this, it's easy. Like say, you just we just get a load of people that want to basically associate with it, affiliate with it, and it'll all be in black and white. And the money will go straight into their bank account every month. Simples.
Okay, that's interesting. I might have a little think about that myself, to be honest.
Well, you should.
So yeah, I am.
You'd be a great ambassador for it.
My mind's already going. And obviously I speak with many people in this field. So what else? So it could be used for DJs, for the average Joe at home, for
bars, clubs. That you see a lot of bars and clubs. They've got screens, but they have no content. Right. That's one thing they lack is content. Right. So this enables them to have the content. I mean, they can do the visuals from behind the bar, or they can put up basically the offers they're doing for that day. Maybe a menu for the day. Like this is what we've got on the menu for this today, or they might have an happy hour. They can do it all live. They can change it, within seconds.
When was this completed? The app?
Sorry.
When was the app completed?
Oh, sorry. When was the app completed? It was ready 3 months ago.
Wow, so this is like really fresh new stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
And it's on the Play Store as well as the App Store. And like I say, there's 25 billion mobile devices in the world, Dexter.
I know.
25 billion, and it's a growing number.
I know.
Right?
I know. I hate my mobile.
And
it's always on me.
Look, as well as I do, being in the music industry and obviously in business, that it's all about numbers. It's a numbers game we play.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about. All these multimillionaires out there, whether it's Google, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever, it's all about numbers.
Yeah.
How many people they can get signed up?
I mean, I can't see how this wouldn't be popular to all of the people that we've spoken to. It's just what it is nowadays is cutting through the noise, isn't it? And getting in front of eyeballs.
Yeah, but this is the best business card I've ever had.
Yeah.
Everyone I've shown this to have gone, wow, that is amazing. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
I've never had a negative comment about it. Never.
I'm gonna have to start using it. I'm gonna have to go on this.
Well, I did a VJ masterclass back in November.
Okay.
And a few. I only wanted 5 people to come because I wanted to spend time with everybody, right, and give everyone time. And I was showing them how to VJ, and it was a very successful day. Everyone loved it. It was basically it's about giving something back. I mean, I've been a VJ now for 35 years. I pioneered loads of stuff in this business, and I just wanted to give something back. And I had people that because now the way technology has moved forward, people are becoming a bit more, comfortable with using it.
Yeah,
because they've grown up with it.
Yeah,
especially the younger kids.
Oh, the younger lot. I mean, I've got to be honest with you. When you see these Privileged Universe and Ushuaia and places like this, and they've all got all these phones out and everything, taking films of all these incredible spectacles, which they are. I'm not putting them down at all because I think they look incredible. I think what they do is incredible. But if we had mobile phones back in the day of manumission and space and that lot, I think we would have been the same.
Yeah.
But I think I don't actually blame them for pulling their phones out because it looks amazing. I know a lot of it's a narcissistic thing where you got to show your mates where you are and what you're doing, but I still think that if we had smartphones in our era, in our golden era of space manumission, and I think we might have been the same.
I agree with you. I mean, I've VJ'd at Annabelle's in Mayfair. You're not allowed to use your phones in there.
Yeah.
They confiscate your phones there, right? Because of the clientele they get. I mean, it's it's £10,000 to £15,000 a year membership for that venue.
Yeah.
But the people they have coming in, they do not want to be seen to being videoed or photographed.
Well,
They just want to go there and enjoy it.
That's what Ibiza used to be about, though, isn't it? It was about not. I mean, what is it that I've mentioned this before in the podcast? I read something that Claire Manumission said that people used to go to Ibiza to pretend not to be rich.
Yeah.
And hide away from everyone.
Yeah.
And then when we used to go to
it's
space,
different now. It's not like that now.
Nah, we used to go into space, and they used to confiscate our phones, our little phones, and put them in the drawer and stuff like that. Because the only photographer allowed in the house was the house photographer, and they used to sell the prints.
Pictures,
Yeah. Long time. And Amnesia did the same thing, and Paradis. So how? I mean, do you do a lot of work in Ibiza these days? No. Obviously, you were there. How many seasons did you do there?
I did 10 years at Space with Carl.
Yeah.
And when Space closed, they did say I was approached about playing at High and stuff, but it's just not the same. Now the only time I go to Ibiza now is I work with I do Slip Back in Time. I mean, if I was asked to do Ibiza again, I would, but I wouldn't. I'd do a midweek. I wouldn't do the weekends because I want to spend more time at home. Because as you're well aware, I've got a beautiful little baby.
Congratulations!
And I just don't want to go through all that.
I think you've done your fair share of weekends and touring and stuff and being away.
I mean, I could we could have this conversation. We could chat for at least 4 or 5 hours because I could tell you stories that you would not believe, but we could save them for another day.
Exactly. No, I'm just what I wanted to speak to you about was obviously the whole VJing thing, because I still think it's really underutilized.
It is massively.
I can't remember going into a club this year where there was a VJ. Why?
You should come to one of my parties.
Yeah, I know. And it's never really discussed about in budgets.
Well, this is something that me and you could do together. Shall I tell you why? Because when I had, I've been waiting for this to be finished, right? And I want to do something that no one else has ever done in Clubland, which is to do a tour, but all dedicated to VJing, right? But an interactive club tour, right? Because when punters go to gigs, they turn up and they see it all going on. This will give them a chance to come and video mix with me.
Yeah,
with their phones. So we get a phone sponsors us, and we take it around to the universities, and they can be part of the gig.
Could be amazing.
They can get 15 minutes of fame with me video mixing to a quality, maybe a world-class quality DJ.
Wow. Can you imagine the buzz out of that?
Yeah, but can you imagine that? Because all the universities in the UK, all the big ones, they've got virtual nightclubs built into them, right? Because they don't want the kids going into town. They want to keep them on the campus, right? So they've got LED screens. They've got the whole full-on production, at the student unions.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I did that years ago. I launched Bourgeois Cosmetics in the UK, and we took a load of DJs, John Kelly and a few other DJs. We did a 12-day tour around 12 universities, and we gave away free Bourgeois Cosmetics and all that. But because we were sponsored by Bourgeois, all the DJs came free because they were paid for by Bourgeois. All the visuals came free, so they were opening their arms to us, saying, "Oh, come in, when can you come back?" But if we get a sponsor on and do an interactive club tour, an audio-visual interactive club tour, it's never been done.
In my days, there wasn't any visuals in my university clubs. Do you know what? We had 5. We had 5.
Yeah,
clubs.
but we took the screens with us.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we took all the screens. We took all the. It was 42-inch plasmas, so we used to take 8 of them with us and spread them around the venue.
Wow.
But then we used to take kilometers of BNC cable with us as well, because you had to cable everything up. But now everything is all wireless. It's brilliant.
Do you think over the last say 10, 15 years there has been a massive jump in technological progress?
Amazing. I tell you what, I played at 338 in August. And
Studio 338, yeah?
yeah. And what I did was I was walking around with my mobile phone, right? And basically through the app, I was running live video onto the big LED screen through
That's
the. Everyone was going,
nuts.
"Wow!" I was walking around with the filming the punter and putting their face up on the screen with my phone. And the other week I was doing it with the iPad.
Yeah.
Just walking around and then was going, "Wow!" He's walking around with no cables, nothing, just putting live video up there. Because back in the day, you had to have shitloads of cable to walk around a venue.
Of
Now
course.
I've got this bit of kit. Where is it? It's
Mm-hmm.
this bit of kit, right? It's this bit
Goes
in
plug straight into the iPhone.
there,
Yep.
right?
I've got
And this bit connects, via HDMI to the screen. That's it.
That's it, yeah?
I can be about 40, 50 meters away.
That's exactly the same principle as this. I've got a little. This is
There you go.
cheap mic. It's a cheap mic. Yeah. Plug it into the iPhone, and I got the
Oh right, okay, that.
Yeah.
It's a
little bit different. A little bit different.
This is all similar idea. Yeah.
Concept. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this cost. I mean, these are only cheap. These before I went to Ibiza and did absolutely nothing with them. I think only about
80
about 20. Yeah, that was about 20 quid. That was nothing.
But it
but
gives you can run 1920 by 1080 on it, 1080p.
Amazing. I've since upgraded. I've got some DJI
and
stuff
it's
over there.
Mac and PC, Mac and PC compatible.
Awesome.
No software needed.
Yeah.
Plug and play.
That's the great thing about it. So the app, is it easy to use?
Oh mate, it's so easy to use. It's so easy.
Because a lot of people get fearful, don't they?
Why don't you download it? It's a free download. Download it.
I'm going to. I
Even one of your kids. Show it to one of your kids. Let them have a play.
Well, I've got a little toddler called Alfie. He's already on the decks. He loves the decks. I've had to open him a YouTube channel last weekend because he wants to film. He wants to go and film. He'll love all this stuff. I'll tell you what I did
yesterday. I went to a little DJ school for kids with ADHD, young kids with ADHD, and they would learn to be DJs. And there was a lady there from Kent Council, and she said, "I'd like you to come down and show your app to the kids." The kids were blown away by it. They put up a screen, right, and I used that bit of kit.
Yeah,
and I was passing around the iPad, and they were just sitting there, just mesmerised by the visuals, and to the music. Yeah.
So you've done Lisa Lashes as well.
Lisa's an old friend of mine. Love her to bits.
I spoke to her yesterday. I actually texted her a couple of hours ago.
I love her. If you speak to her again, give her my love.
I'll be speaking to her after Christmas. Don't you worry about that.
We went to Malaysia. Last time I went abroad. We went to Malaysia together. Went to Kuching. We did a massive gig out there. But I've known Lisa from back in the day, man. From years back.
We were talking about her music, the amazing work she does for the Lisa Lashes.
She does a lot of charity stuff. Yeah, she's got a big heart. That woman has a big heart, man.
AI.
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, have you integrated AI into your app? No.
I think it's boring.
Okay. Tell me why you think AI.
I think it's boring, and it does. It's just like it's number one. It's too slow. It's boring. It's all about morphing. It's just, all the AI stuff I've seen is all about people morphing stuff. And to me, you need to come to one of my gigs, one of my shows, and see how I work.
Yes,
and then you'll get a proper feel of it. I mean, I'll give you an idea. When I was doing Peach, Chris Bain came up to me and goes, "I don't know how you do it," because I couldn't stand there for 7-8 hours video mix like you. I said, "Well, look, this is why I create this content, because it's there to be mixed."
What you do is totally and utterly different.
Totally different. It could be for some people, it could be for others, but I personally won't go down that road.
Okay.
Because I'm happy creating my animations to a certain frame rate, because all the music I work with is got energy in it, and people are there. And what I like to do is, when people are looking at a screen, they're looking at it, and it's giving them even more energy to their brain to make them go even like, yeah, wow, I love this. And when the drops come in, Dexter, it's all problem with a lot of VJs is when the drops come in, they leave the same visuals on. When the drop comes in, I go blackout, straight in blackout.
Yeah,
it's all about the blackouts.
Yeah, You're more. You're basically a performer as well.
Yes.
You're an artist in your own right.
Yeah.
I've always thought that.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I've always thought that because
I really appreciate it. That means a lot to me.
I know Carl wouldn't have been touring with you, and I knew you were different. And I've always followed your stuff.
Thank
and
you.
I'm going to be having a bloody good look at this app, I tell you. So you're looking back.
Yeah.
What would you want your contribution to electronic music to be?
My contribution, the way I look back at it, is just that I brought the music to life in a visual form.
Wow.
That's always been my project, and my projection and my my aim. I've always said to people, when I turn up to an event, I bring the music to life visually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what I always want to do. I mean, for example, New Year's Eve, I was going to be at home, but then I got a call regarding for a gig in Sunderland. They're putting up 4 huge screens around the city.
Wow.
And they've got Michael Gray, Fleury's, they've got Ben Santiago and Lovely Laura and a few other DJs playing.
Yeah.
And they said, we've been looking for a VJ and you've come highly recommended by 7 people we've spoken to. And I didn't ask them who they were. And they said, are you available? I said, talk to my agent. And said, who's your agent? I said, Kasha is my agent. Please talk to her and see if we can sort it out. And we are, and I'm going to go up there and do this event. But it's all about bringing the music to life, And the problem is, I find a lot of VJs they the way when I watch them, it's like a DJ going to a gig and listen to a DJ and think he's bored.
Yeah,
he's just playing it, but it doesn't feel like he's really enjoying it, even though he's playing music. You know that as well, right?
You do see them in the lighting, but sometimes the crew do look very bored.
Yeah,
sometimes
and I'm not like that. I never sit when I'm working. I'm standing because I'm like Coxie. I get into the vibe. You have to feel the sound. You have to feel the music just to enjoy it and get into it. And when you're into it, I'm always thinking 6 or 7 visuals ahead of what I've already got on the screen now. So I'm already thinking ahead, thinking I might think off the top.
That's what a DJ would do, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, same principle. But
I don't know what people like Carl or other DJs that I've worked with over the years, what they're going to play. I never sit down and go through a set list with them because it's all done live. Everything's freestyle, and that's how I work. I work freestyle.
Absolutely,
that's the only way I can work, Dexter. If you said to me, "Habs, come and work with me," and I just want you to press that button every time he plays that track, I say, Dexter, I love you to bits, but get someone else to do it. I'm coming there to mix it up live, freestyle. But let's freestyle it, man.
I want to ask you something now. Do you think now that the industry as a whole has split because the high-end production that we're seeing at some of these incredible venues, is it more a show now? And you get some of these underground parties, these pop-up parties that are stripped back, no phones, no visuals, nothing, but that's a party. But then do you think it's gone too much towards a show in some of these
depends what country you're in. Yeah, Americans always go to Hollywood with their production, right? But if you get the likes of some big promoters, I'm not going to name anyone because I don't want to upset anyone.
Of course.
When they put on these big productions, they expect you as an artist to come there and do it for virtually nothing because of all the production they built for you. Right, you know that, right? They're coming there. They just want you to come there and just play, just because you're going to be playing in this amazing stage, amazing setup, right? I don't care, but if if you're spent all that money on all these screens and all that, at least have someone that knows how to operate them and bring them out, because people are filming with their phones. It's all about social media now. They're filming everything. If you look at some of the gigs and you see the screens that they've got there, but you look at the content that's been filmed on social media, you look at it and you think, fucking hell, what a waste. You could have put some wicked content on there.
So you think the production they've got, the level of equipment, hardware they've got, is underutilized?
Yes, 100%.
Wow.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
And if you see people online, people are blown away by it.
Yes.
But it can get even better.
100% better.
Wow. That's a bit. I hope everyone who's watching this is like mind blown, because I personally think that.
And I can tell you that from 35 years experience. And,
Yeah,
I've played at the biggest venues globally, Australia, Miami, South America, Ibiza, the whole lot. They actually put the LEDs in space when I started working there. They didn't have LED screens in there until I started working there. You know that because you've been in Ibiza longer than I have.
Yeah. No, I remember. I remember. As I said, I didn't even remember much lighting before. Lasers, obviously.
Yeah,
the
lasers
have always been very, very
but
prominent.
They've improved. They've got better,
haven't they? And the amount used. But you'll be surprised at the amount of time we go to clubs, and we've got to bring them in now because the clubs don't use them, because I suppose the sound of the deep house.
But that's another problem with lasers, right? When you're incorporating lasers with lighting and video, the problem is with the video guys, they don't turn the screens off to give the lasers their opportunity to shine.
Yeah,
they leave the screens on. The screens are bright. Back in the day, I used to tell the lighting guys to please can you just turn the lights down a little bit so the projected image can look half decent on that screen. And there was always an argument, or they'd get upset. Now the lighting guys are coming up to me and say, "Can you turn the screen down? People can't see my lighting, because the screens are so bright." And I will. And I'll turn the screens down just because we work as a team.
Yeah, we've come to some. We've actually figured out like the levels now for like Kevin and Perry and some of the Amnesia shows. We keep all of the visuals. They're quite low now because of the lasers. The lasers come through, and also
their visuals are more about their branding.
Yeah. And then you get the DJs who've got all these bloody logos going on behind them and stuff, and they insist that they're on. So
but when I work with DJs, I mean, I did was it Halloween up at Fire in October, November the 1st, right? And what I do with DJ names, I put the DJ names up, and then I take them off, right? Because when the DJ comes on, everyone, I'll make sure everyone knows who's on.
Yeah.
Right? And then I'll take the name off, right? And then I'll do a show because people want to see the visuals. They want to see they don't want to just see the name up. It ruins the whole show.
It's just a loop, isn't it? That they'll provide in their press pack.
Yeah, they'll just provide a loop, which is and it's boring. People switch off.
Yeah.
Right? The thing is, I found, Dexter, and I take this as a massive compliment from a lot of DJs now. When they see that I'm doing the visuals, they say, "Look, Habs, forget my video loop that I've sent through. Can you just do the show?"
Yeah. That's people know you. Yeah.
They say, "Look, I'm glad you're here, right? Because I know that I don't need my visual loop, right? Unless it's Slipmat, because I actually created his visual loop, right? So, but he'll still turn around to me and say, "Look, just do your thing, mate."
You gotta love Matt. I
love Matt.
Last tune.
Matt and Rachel.
If you had one last tune to play visuals to at a night, do you have a favorite tune to end the night off? This is my last question.
That's a great question.
Yeah. What would you love? Is there a particular moment where you've just gone, wow, that's just
probably New Order. The New Order track.
Okay.
That Coxie always used to play that, or either finish with Promised Land, as you know.
Yeah,
right? That's what we'd finish our summer with. At the end of September, Space. But I'd always drop the New Order track. How does it feel? And when that track came in, you could see the whole audience and the vibe in the room just change.
Yeah.
And I love that track, but just because and it's great to play visuals too because of the energy, and you can play some really cool, hard, fast moving energy with it.
Wicked. We will overlay everything in there. I'm gonna have to get back to you and get some stuff off you, man. I'm gonna be rinsing your Facebook page. You know that.
Anyway, man, you're more than welcome, my friend. You're more than welcome.
I've had you for
absolute pleasure to talk to you. I've known you all these years. We've never actually had a discussion like this ever.
No. Do you know what? I love these discussions, and I've really got to get to know people a lot better through them, because these nightclub discussions and early morning club green room discussions, it's just like it's hard.
I could tell you some stories about space and those green room discussions, mate.
Let's not go down that route, because
I could tell you something. One about Sven Bath, and I won't share it with you though.
Oh no, well, I've got to think. I've witnessed some things. Obviously, I lived in Ibiza a long time, and I've had I've had the most bizarre array of famous DJs in after parties above the ship in Ibiza, of all places. So yeah, it's a wonderful place. Anyway, Habs, thank you so much for your time.
You're more than welcome.
I'm going to be in touch, and I will see you very, very soon. And good luck with the app. And I'm going to be
Thank you so much.
fully supportive of it. Thank you,
I
my
really
friend.
appreciate it. You're welcome.